right, everyone, I think we'll start. So welcome to INX Technologies Web3 series. We're going to do this every Friday. We'll fine-tune the timing as we go along, but I thought we'll start at 9 a.m. this week. So we're going to talk about the non-fungible token standards. This space is rapidly evolving as well, but there's some history to it, and there's some nuances which I think you might find interesting. So I'll get straight into it. Maybe I'll start with the definition of what an NFT is. So non-fungible basically just means something that's unique, and it's non-replaceable with something else. So a $10 bill is fungible or exchangeable or replaceable with another $10 bill, while a one-of-a-kind trading card is non-fungible. The Mona Lisa is non-fungible. A rare painting or a rare artifact is non-fungible. So an NFT is just a digital version of that, where we can keep a unique piece of data or a unique piece of intellectual property in a token, which is not exchangeable in value or not similar in value to any other token. NFTs also have a comprehensive metadata, metadata that's attached to them. Sometimes you don't see it right on your screen. The trend is for people to think that NFTs are mostly pictures at the moment. A lot of the NFT trading that happens is pictures of different projects, so Bored Ape or stuff like that. But there's a lot of metadata behind it as well. So CryptoKitties, for example, each kitty has a ton of metadata behind it. You can take a screenshot of the CryptoKitty on your screen, but that doesn't mean you get any of the metadata. And metadata is the fact that we can store metadata on it makes it an ideal instrument for confirming ownership of digital assets. So an NFT token standard is, so a non-fungible token standard rather, it defines the smart contract and the features that are related to that specific token. There are many different standards across blockchains, but the original one was built by Ethereum. Ethereum still built the original set of NFT standards, and some of the other blockchains or some of the other protocols that have come up after Ethereum, they've just copied or repurposed some of Ethereum's standards, and they've called it, in some cases they've called it something similar, and in some cases they've branded it with their own stuff. So we'll go through all the examples today. And this is being recorded on the 5th of August in 2022. So as I said, the space is evolving pretty rapidly. So a year from now, there might be a lot more, several more NFT standards. So as I said, Ethereum is the pioneer in the space, still the most widely used blockchain platform for creating and launching NFTs. So we'll start with Ethereum examples and Ethereum token standards that are specifically NFTs, and then we'll get into some of the other ones. So the first one, the very first NFT standard that kind of made it big, this is what CryptoKitties was built on as well. It's called ERC 721, and it's the most commonly used standard. It kind of started the whole NFT space. And each ERC 721 token is non-fungible. It's unique, and it can be priced independently, depending on what you place inside of it and the perceived value amongst the community or amongst other speculators within the field. This is why unique digital assets such as an artist's digital creation or digital art can be stored on such a token. The tokens can't be destroyed or duplicated. So let's talk about that for a second, because a lot of people think, what's the value of an NFT when I can take a picture of it? We're still looking at one of the early use cases for NFTs where we're just trading pictures. But a simple example of that would be, you can't zoom in. So those pictures where you can zoom in 10x and the picture's so detailed that you can zoom in anywhere on the picture and there's still a lot of clarity. If you take a screenshot of it from the outside, it doesn't capture the zoom. So it doesn't capture everything inside that picture. That's still just we're still talking about the visual aspect of an NFT, but there's so much more. There could be a random factor that's in the metadata of an NFT that can't be captured in a screenshot. So a screenshot doesn't mean you're duplicating an NFT. A lot of people are taking screenshots and putting it as their display picture on Twitter or Instagram or somewhere else. That's fine, but you still don't have the magic sauce that's inside an NFT. So each token is unique and cannot be destroyed or duplicated. Each token is thought of as a collectible based on the uniqueness and rarity of its properties. And ERC 721 is kind of like what kicked the whole thing off. The second one is a composable standard. It's called ERC 998, and it's similar to the ERC 721, except that you could. It's kind of like a bag where you can put other NFTs into it. So an ERC 998 is composable because you can compose it with fungible as well as non-fungible tokens. So you could put a bunch of ERC 721 tokens in there, and you can also put a bunch of ERC 20 tokens in there. And then you can kind of sell that as a package. So think of it like a package deal where I sell you a vacation package that includes flights, hotels, and all these other items of value, but I package it into one thing. So the ERC 998 token standard is like a package where you can compose a package of an ERC 998 with a bunch of a combination of different ERC 721 and ERC 20 tokens. Since each token, ERC 998 token, can hold a unique set of digital assets, it can be thought of as a portfolio. That's a really good way of thinking of it. The next one's still an Ethereum one. It's ERC 1155. It was specifically developed for games, although there's some developments in the space where the CryptoKitty guys, the CryptoKitty team rather, they found that the Ethereum network was getting slowed down because of the popularity of the game. So they went out and launched Flow. So we'll get into that in a second. So there are other platforms that use other that offer really good that offer really good NFT tokens for gaming specifically. But ERC 1155 was Ethereum's take on gaming. So it was developed with games in mind. It could represent a transactional currency within a game, and the NFT items could represent in-game collectibles and in-game exchangeable assets as well. As a last point, ERC 1155 tokens allow for users to register fungible and non-fungible tokens using the same address and smart contract. There's several other ERC standards here that I've listed on the page. These slides will be available after the webinar, so I encourage you to go into each one of these in greater depth. And a quick Google search on either of these will pull up relevant projects and interesting facts about each one. I'll just put kind of like a screenshot of, like a snapshot of what a one-line explanation of what each of these do. So I'll leave this on for a second before I move on. All right. So let's talk about Binance. Binance is a popular blockchain and a cryptocurrency exchange. So they have got this thing called the Binance Smart Chain. It's got a built-in Ethereum virtual machine, which makes it interoperable with Ethereum. And they have a couple of token standards as well. So the BEP 721 is a lot like the ERC 721, but it's on the Binance Smart Chain. And the BEP 1155 is like the ERC 1155, but it's on the Binance Smart Chain. They have very low fees compared to Ethereum, around 20 cents per trade, and it's a lot faster. Ethereum's significantly more expensive. Also, Ethereum's fees, as of today, are kind of related to the price of Ethereum. So the fees people find that sometimes prohibitive. But as I said, other blockchains that came after Ethereum, sometimes they just call their token standards the same, like they gave them the same number, just to keep it familiar for users to use. So BEP 721 is like ERC 721, BEP 1155 is like ERC 1155. So that's Binance. And Flow is the blockchain started by the team that started CryptoKitties. So they just went ahead and started their own blockchain as a competitor to Ethereum. And their blockchain was focused on gaming first. So this was it has an NFT standard. It's just called the Flow NFT standards. It's the equivalent to ERC 721. Transactions are faster and cheaper than Ethereum. And the blockchain is great for artists and NFT developers because it's specifically designed for this functionality for gaming and for NFTs. Then I've got a few facts about the Flow blockchain under that. So smart contracts on the Flow network are written in Cadence, which is Flow's language, the equivalent of Solidity. What Solidity is to Ethereum, Cadence is to Flow. And it allows for upgradable smart contracts, i.e. smart contracts that can be deployed in a beta state. and then incrementally updated by the original authors until they're satisfied, and then fully released on the blockchain. So that's an interesting feature as well. Once the original authors of the smart contracts are satisfied, they can irrevocably release the contract, and then it becomes immutable. So they can kind of tweak it, play around with it until they're fully happy with it, and then they can make it immutable. And it's been designed for scale. There's been some conversation about the distribution of it, and a lot of interesting stuff going on in Discord and Reddit. So I encourage everyone to check that out as well. The next one is Tezos, which is, they have a couple of ones, which is FA2, or it's also called TZIP 12. So it's a unified token contract interface that supports a wide range of token types: fungible, non-fungible, non-transferable, as well as multi-asset contracts. So that just is just fancy for like ERC 1120, ERC 20, ERC 721, ERC 1155. ERC 998. So the equivalent of that for Tezos. It gives developers a lot of flexibility, so they can kind of create their own complex token interactions while maintaining the standard API for external applications and wallets, which is kind of cool. The token structures can include NFTs and contain numerous different gaming items with interactive and transmutable features. And it supports various token types and allows users to manage fungible and non-fungible tokens as well. So this token standard is issued and used by the Tezos blockchain. Its main feature is the ability to embed a hash from IPFS into a Tezos-based token. Hashing is, again, like a security mechanism that kind of keeps the integrity of the system in place. The token standard is not very popular. It has a lot of advantages, but as of this recording, I guess it's not as popular as some of the others. But if you decide to use one of these tokens, so TZIP 12, the fees are pretty low, and the blockchain is supposed to be user friendly. That's what most users think. But definitely check out a couple of options before you decide on one. And then we come to Tron, again, TRC 721. So that's the equivalent of ERC 721, but TRC is the Tron network. They all have each TRC 721, have unique IDs. The main distinction is the low cost compared to Ethereum, and faster transaction times. And again, a lot of these blockchains have faster transaction times and lower costs, but they're not as distributed and they're not as widely used as Ethereum. So pros and cons for both. And lastly, let's talk about which one's the best for you. And the answer, like in many cases, is it depends. It depends on your use case. It depends on the volume that you're going to use it, and depends on the community you're building for. Sometimes the use cases are very simple, so you can go with a faster blockchain with simple NFT token standards, where your community is very price sensitive. So then you can choose Tron or Tezos or Flow or one of those. And if the community really wants distribution and it really wants to see like a large community behind the original blockchain, price is not a factor, then sometimes Ethereum might be better. And in some cases, you might be better off just asking your community which one they're most familiar with. So which one is best for you really depends on your use case, the volume of your use, and the community you're building for, as well as price sensitivity. So like it depends how sensitive your audience is to prices. So that's the NFTs token standards of today. The space is rapidly evolving, as I mentioned, and definitely a good idea to keep an eye on the space. NFTs are going to move from primarily gaming and trading functionality, where it's just digital art being traded. It's going to move from that to all forms of intellectual property that exists online. I think the whole digital rights, the digital intellectual rights space is going to move to NFTs, where you could put like a song on an NFT, a movie on an NFT. You could upload any form of interactive media on an NFT, and it'll just kind of work in the background. So I think that we'll really see NFTs come into the mainstream when we don't hear the term as much, and it's just something that happens in the background when you're watching a movie on your app or something else. So it kind of does its thing in the back. And the great thing about NFTs, and as you have seen with a lot of the standards that were mentioned previously, is that there's an infinite amount of structuring. So you can kind of just compose different NFTs. You can have all kinds of complex structures where you can have a range of smart contracts that call different NFTs, that call different APIs. So you can kind of build really interesting use cases and really interesting and interactive digital experiences using NFTs. So with that, I'll open it up for questions. I've got my contact details below as well, and the INX Technologies website, inxtech.com. Hit me up on Twitter, LinkedIn, email, or Telegram. And for any of your questions, feel free to post them in chat. I'll take a shot at some of the questions right now. So we got one question, which is how can NFTs get incorporated into industries like healthcare, banking, where security is a major concern? Great question. So NFTs, for example, NFTs could store some user data, which is protected and which is tied to a specific user. And then that could kind of be the medium of exchange between a user application and a healthcare application or a banking application, where there's a layer of security and a layer of cryptography that masks, maybe if the need is required, then it also masks the identity of the people or the group of the person or the group of people that are applying for some sort of a healthcare package or some sort of a banking service. And all of that information could kind of be transacted through APIs and through the metadata that's stored within an NFT. Of course, you could also have composable NFTs, so you could have various aspects of banking or various aspects of your healthcare profile, and you could compose an NFT with all those various aspects. So you could do like an ERC 998, and then present that to your banking or healthcare platform. The best use cases are when all of this happens programmatically. So I create an NFT and then I present it programmatically, and then the healthcare or banking platform receives it programmatically, and then it does its thing, rather than layers of human intervention. It'll always be available for audit after, but I feel like the best use cases are when it all happens programmatically. Hope that answers the question. If there's any more questions, please feel free to put them in chat. All right, we got another question, which is of the NFTs that we went through, which one is best for small businesses and MSMEs? Again, it depends on the business use case. It depends on the community the business is serving. It depends on the price sensitivity and the speed at which the use case, the business is looking to present a service or product. So if it's very price sensitive and they can't wait a long time, then probably Tezos or Flow or Tron or Binance. But if they want something that's backed by a huge community, allows for a lot of complex transactions and complex contracts in place, then probably Ethereum. If they need complex transactions but really fast speed and they don't really care about some of that distribution, then probably Binance. So there's a bunch of different options. All right, I guess we'll call it there for now. If there's any questions or anything else, hit me up on email, web, LinkedIn, or Twitter, or just message us on through the inxtech.com website. All right, thank you very much, guys.